Hey, how's it going, everybody? Mike Weber here. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 best places to live in the South Bay of Los Angeles. Now, really quickly, a little bit about myself. I've lived in the South Bay area for about 18 years. I am a real estate broker here, and I've probably been inside, several thousand homes in my career. And of course, I've driven through pretty much every neighborhood, every street in the South Bay. So I have a pretty good sense for the different cities in the South Bay, the different benefits and drawbacks of living in those cities, and just what the general lifestyle and feel is for many of these different communities throughout the area. So getting started, let's start with number 5, which is Torrance, California. Now, Torrance, California, in my view, is one of the best places to live in the South Bay if you're looking for a variety of different types of housing that is a bit more affordable, but still offers great communities, lots of single family communities, generally speaking, a lot of really good and well-known schools, and kind of the perfect balance in terms of location, being still in some parts pretty close to the coast, but in other parts a little bit further east, which offers lower cost housing opportunities. Now, Torrance is one of the bigger cities on the list, and because of that, you can really find homes and condos and townhomes pretty much at any different price point that you could imagine. Now, Torrance has some great communities, a lot of pride of ownership in these communities, offers great parks, good recreation, but still centrally located enough to make it back to Silicon Beach or into the city if you need to for work. So Torrance is just a great pick across the board. It's probably the most affordable city on this list. And if you're thinking about moving to the South Bay, definitely this should be on your list for places to live. Moving on to number 4 on the list, we have Hermosa Beach, California. Now, Hermosa Beach is an incredible place to live. Now, it is a pretty small community in comparison to Torrance and some of the other communities or cities on this list, but it makes up for what it lacks in size in quality of life. It's one of the more youthful cities on this list. A lot of young people like to move to Hermosa Beach. Maybe they just got out of college, or young new families that are just kind of getting started, because it has an unparalleled lifestyle. There's great nightlife. There's wonderful bars and restaurants that stay open pretty late. If you're into cycling or running or surfing or volleyball or any sort of beach activities, this is the community to live in. Pretty much at its furthest point, it's still very walkable to get down to the beach. There's all kinds of annual events and farmers markets and things like that take place in Hermosa Beach. And it's just an absolutely wonderful place to live. It's generally a bit more expensive than most parts of Torrance, but of course you get the value because you're so close to the ocean. Now, in terms of real estate options there, houses are generally on smaller lots. You generally have less space between you and your neighbors. It's a lot more of a densely sort of populated area compared to what you can find in some of the other cities on this list. Moving on to number 3 on the list, we have Palos Verdes. And Palos Verdes is kind of a huge peninsula that really has all kinds of different sub areas located on that peninsula. Now, the really nice thing about Palos Verdes is it's kind of like the Malibu of the South Bay. It's quiet. There's not as many people driving through there because it's kind of off the beaten path. There's all kinds of amazing real estate opportunities where you still can get a large lot or a huge house with a beautiful ocean view. And a lot of parts of Palos Verdes are still pretty affordable for what you actually can purchase. It also offers wonderful options for fitness and activities like cycling and running. There's a lot of hills there, a lot of trails that you can run or bike. There are beautiful coastal views as you drive along the coast of Palos Verdes. It's a quiet place with wonderful schools, great neighborhoods, and this is definitely a great place to live if you can afford it and you don't mind being a little bit more off the beaten path. One of the downsides of living in Palos Verdes is it does take quite a bit longer to get back to the 405 freeway if you have to head back north into the city, Santa Monica, Silicon Beach, or LA proper. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But if you work from home or you don't commute that frequently, it's a very quiet and fantastic place to live where you can get a nice property, have some space from your neighbors, where you can still get that at a pretty reasonable price, depending on what part of Palos Verdes you decide to live in. Moving on to number 2 on the list, we have Redondo Beach. This is a personal favorite of mine. I've lived in Redondo Beach. Redondo Beach is an incredible city to live in. It's a lot bigger than Hermosa Beach, and it really offers a wide variety of different types of living options. You can live really close down to the beach. In fact, Redondo Beach has a great little oceanside community called the Hollywood Riviera, and there's all kinds of shops and restaurants and places to go hang out, get coffee, walk by the beach. The beachfront and the strand in Redondo Beach is fantastic. If you want to go for a bike ride, you want to go running, you want to go for a surf or a swim. And Redondo Beach is great because there's really 2 parts of Redondo Beach that you can choose to live in. South Redondo Beach, which generally borders more closely to the ocean, and then North Redondo Beach, which is a little further away from the ocean, but generally a little bit less expensive. Both South and North Redondo Beach offer some fantastic real estate opportunities. You have a lot of newer development in both South and North Redondo Beach, and it's very common in both of these areas to find what are called 2 on a lot and 3 on a lot townhomes. And so what these are is generally a full 7,500 square foot lot that has either 2 or 3 units on the property. So you can get a more modern home, more square footage at a significantly reduced price of what you would have to spend if you were to purchase a single family in one of these communities. Of course, they also have wonderful single family home options. There are still a lot of good sized lots in both South and North Redondo. Now, North Redondo borders the 405 freeway at its most easterly point, allowing you to very quickly hop on the freeway if you have to head north or south. School ratings are good. Most people consider it to be a fairly safe place. And even at its furthest point, it's a very short distance away to get to the coast, and just a wonderful all-around place to live if you want to live in the South Bay and experience that active outdoor sort of lifestyle that you get living down here in this community. Let's move on to number 1 on the list, and that is going to be Manhattan Beach. Now, Manhattan Beach is kind of like the crown jewel of the South Bay. It happens to be, generally speaking, the most expensive place to live, but of course there are expensive places in both Redondo and Palos Verdes, but most of the real estate in Manhattan Beach is very highly coveted. Manhattan Beach is a pretty good sized city, and there are lots of different options, some right down on the ocean front, which they call the sand section, and this is kind of like the premier place to live in the South Bay of Los Angeles. You have an active lifestyle. Lots of successful and wealthy people choose to have homes there close to the ocean. There's a beautiful strand that you can jog on, you can work out on, you can go down to the beach. There's a really nice downtown area that has plenty of shops and restaurants and things to do at night. The community is just fantastic. You have highly rated schools. So Manhattan Beach really just offers kind of the best of all worlds. You're kind of close to the freeway still, you're close to LAX. You're close to the cities north, like Santa Monica, Marina del Rey, the city of Los Angeles, Westwood, where a lot of people work. Real estate options are abundant. You can spend easily north of 10 million for something closer to the water. That's incredible. Or, $1.5 million, $2 million, if you want to move a little bit further away from the beach in what's called the hill section or the tree section. Schools are generally really highly rated. People love the community. You have a close-knit sort of communal feel there, all kinds of activities, wonderful central area to go down and have some coffee or hang out. So Manhattan Beach is just one of the nicest and best cities in the South Bay. And if you can afford it, you should have Manhattan Beach on your list. So that was my list of the top 5 best places to live in the South Bay of Los Angeles. If you have any questions about any of these communities or the real estate, of course, reach out to me, let me know. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.